Sitting there. Hey guys, that was my that was my earlier live stream, but I'm bringing up tonight's live stream. Sorry I'm late. Hey Mustafa. So, uh, we got some news you might be interested in here, Mustafa. Of course, I told you
What's new with Google
that.
Ads? Google powers campaigns that
Sorry guys. There we go. Just a second. Just a second. Bob Sima, our new friend Bob Sima, who is a sort of a shaman, modern day shaman, a musician. Not much difference between a shaman and musician. You know, at their best, you could really say Grateful Dead was a. I could easily say Grateful Dead was a shamanistic experience. Every show was different, and yet every single show, hey Sniper, produced the same quality of consciousness. Let's maybe we'll see what Bob Sima has to say about that. He's going to be our guest tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, and he might do some performing. If not some performing, he's got some stuff he's going to play for us of him performing. And then we have our all-time favorite, one of the teachers of teachers, Dove Fishman, David Dove Fishman. This is his third time coming up, and each time, for me, each time I sink a little deeper into that sense of love, the openness that he presents me. So really looking forward to both of them. And then Mustafa, coming back for the second time, is, speaking of teachers, David Hoffmeister is coming back. He reached out to me and said, "How about tomorrow?" And I said, "Definitely." Hey, Tim. Tim, nice to see you, my friend. Tim, once again, thank you so much for all of your support. On behalf of everyone, Tim, thank you for your support. Hey, Lady Sky. You do more than try, my friend. You get it done. So, Mustafa, Dove Fishman, David Hoffmeister, back to back. How's that for quality guest? Mustafa says, "Awesome, Eric." With Dove, we're going to be very, very specific. He wants to talk about the 3 A's of practicing A Course in Miracles. The 3 A's are the metaphysics of A Course in Miracles. So yeah, big news. I hope you guys show up I hope you show up for everyone. Hi, Sil. Bud Files, my friend. How are you? Tim says, "I'm retired now and enjoying every minute of it. Went out 3 weeks early. Had time to use March 31st, 2026 is officially my last day." Awesome. Yeah, I remember you came in once and said that you were getting ready to retire. Tim says hi to Sue. So again, I hope you guys join us tomorrow and Thursday. I got some guests that are starting to line up for next week. I got one on the 16th. Deona and Julie are going to come up someday next week, I believe. Last Wednesday was my last day. That's awesome. How many years did you put in, Tim? Need dessert soon, Yogi? Planning to make? What are you going to make? Red velvet cornbread? That's not new. We've been talking about that for weeks now. Mustafa is absolutely awesome. Eric, you have great guests these days. 28 long years. Wow. What's up? This is Eric. I have two friends. They are close to my heart. You and Dove Fishman. But thank you for including me with Dove. Hey guys, when you see me go live, do me a favor. Remind me to put the camera so that I am right in front of the camera. I have a tendency, I put a little bit more on the guest and you see half of my face. So we're talking, or this half of my face. Because I went to download my last conversation with David Hoffmeister. It was really bad. The conversation was great. David was awesome. But you could only see half my face, not my better half, as I mentioned earlier. My better half is to see that my better half, I got to turn around. Got to show you the back of the head. And I had some echoes going on, so I got to remember to put the volume down. Sniper says, Eric, my latest work is taking me on a very long, winding path. I'm looking at improving the medical infrastructure with the X-ray industry. I think that might be the safest way for me anyway. What do you mean safest? This guy says surprise dessert. Neymar says, did I get that right? Neymar? God loves you and sent Jesus to die on the cross for you so you can be forgiven for all your sin. If you don't believe, I'll pray for you. But if you do, amen. Well, I appreciate the prayers. Either way, here's what I believe, that Jesus rose from the dead for me. I believe in the resurrection. And had we reached a higher state of consciousness, maybe we could have skipped. Hey, Banana Mac, thank you so much for the jewels. Maybe we could have skipped the crucifixion. It was a beautiful demonstration. Wish it wasn't necessary, but maybe it was though. That we can all survive our own moments of crucifixion, and every moment we have that opportunity. We are either crucifying ourselves and or others, or we are choosing resurrection. And I mean that from the Buddhist sense, not in a reincarnation sense. That every moment is a rebirth. Robert Saltzman. I don't know how to categorize Robert Saltzman. He's not a non-duality teacher. He would be a little hurt if I grouped him with a non-duality, although he certainly speaks in a non-dual sense. But he calls each moment a once upon. That is the resurrection. That is the atonement, the undoing of all that we think we are. By the time Jesus was ready for the resurrection, he had shed all sense of identifying as a body. This guy says, I can tell you that I have made this dessert in the past years ago, Yogi. Butterscotch pudding, which might be the greatest dessert of all time, by the way. Don't argue with that. No one can argue with that. No one will ever convince me otherwise. I like all kinds of stuff. As I mentioned, I could easily sit down and eat a pan of brownies in an instant. I don't eat one brownie, I eat all the brownies. Cake's okay. I'm not anti-cake, but it's not my first go-to thing to have. I do like cheesecake, which is actually more of a pie. But the single greatest thing ever. Puppies are good. Puppies are pretty great. Kittens are pretty great too. Ponies are awesome. You know I love cows. Goats are pretty cool. You know how I feel about beavers, foxes, and owls? The big three. The greatest thing ever, though, butterscotch pudding. Lady Sky just broke my heart and says, no, it's not butterscotch pudding. Is it butterscotch something? Does it have butterscotch? Hey, Christy, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man heard my voice and open the door, I shall come to him and will sup with him, and he with me. Well, thank you for that. I have never read Revelations. Mustafa says, I'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you, Mustafa. Every dessert should have some form of butterscotch. We got Cal, says this guy. Great movie line from Twister movie. Never saw Twister. And Lady Sky drops the Cal. No harm should ever befall a cow, in my opinion. It was oddly enough, I worked at a veal farm, and that did not turn me vegan or even vegetarian. It did sadden me a great deal, and I carried that weight with me for a long time. However, it was a photo of a cow. So odd. When I was immersed in it, when I was immersed in the suffering, I wasn't immune to it, but I guess I had to compartmentalize. I said that. I don't think I could say it again. So, maybe I blocked off the pain that I was feeling. Certainly felt it. Because it was there when I saw that photo of a cow being kicked in the face, and I said, I'm done. I am done eating meat. I'm done participating in that cycle of cruelty. If I really, really felt the need to eat meat, if I didn't want to be a vegan, I would have gone out hunting and fishing. I would have participated. People say it's a circle of life, right? It used to be the circle of life, but going down the meat aisle in a supermarket and buying something wrapped in cellophane that was tortured and drugged for your benefit, sort of, is not the cycle of life. It's a cycle of death. Going out and hunting, or even if you wanted to barter, go to your local butcher, go to a place where it was animal husbandry. You know what I mean? So when I talk about being a vegan, I'm not preaching. I'm not saying this is what you should do. I be perfectly honest. You do what you do. Come to terms with what you do in your own way, for better, for worse, however you do it. You got my support. But this is why I support Bob and Skeeter and Mike, Duke City, Justin, all our fishing friends, all of them. Maddie, of course, Maddie. Hey, this guy says it's a cool movie, Yogi. I remember when it came out. I don't know why I didn't bother to go see it. I'm picky in the movies that I see. If I'm going to sit for 90 minutes or 2 hours, I want it to be worth my while. Sniper says, I am recalibrating the SS138 software for sound logic to medical application for biological signals reconstruction. It's aiming for the field of biological signals, processing diagnostic therapeutic purposes. The primary benefit in chemotherapy is the ability to monitor biological symbols for early toxicity detection. Nice. I know for many people, chemotherapy, sometimes the seeming cure is worse. For some. But hey, you get through it and you get that cancer-free diagnostic. Sorry, guys. Sitting here in silence, just a little bit. Sniper says, I have so much reading to do. Hey, Ass Kisser. Ass Kisser said hi. I don't believe you're really an ass kisser. Yep. It's good to be inspired, though, Sniper. You know, I read one of my favorite quotes from Patanjali. Let me bring it up again. I can very much relate to what you're doing. Of course, different thing. Um, but I have been very immersed in what I'm doing with my channel. And reaching out, putting stuff together, and putting out the long form content, improving my shorts. Let me read this to you, Sniper. I know you've heard me read it hundreds of times before. One more time won't hurt. This is what you remind me of. When you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds, your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. Inspiration, living an inspired life is my favorite thing to talk about. Inspire in spirit, in breath. Every breath should leave you with some form of inspiration. Knowing everything's delivered. Don't seek inspiration. It finds you. But be open. Be open to it. Thank you, Mustafa. Hey, Adam. Adam says, so everyone just listening, however, I did want to say, since we talked about cancer, that the Gerson Clinic has a way better success rate for curing cancer. Interesting. I don't know what that is, Adam. Hey, Adam, David Hoffmeister is coming back on Thursday. By identifying subtle changes in a patient's physiological data or data, depending on who you are and where you're from, I guess. That standard system, Miss Clinicans can adjust. Did I get that right? Can adjust dosage before systematic damage occurs. Nice. So precise, very precise. You're welcome, Mustafa. Adam says, oh, on Sniper, yeah, doctors need all the help they can get. You'd like to get me to know someone named Lonnie Biggers. So what should I know about Lonnie? Sniper says, all ears. Hey, Liza. Liza, how are you, my friend? So let me know about Lonnie and what she does. He's a person with a lot of information. Well, what does he have information on, Mustafa? I'm always in the market to meet and to talk with new people. I need to once again step outside of my little circle and reach out to some people. Need to reach out for more people in the yoga community. That's why I love Jeff Bailey so much, because he was a longtime course student as well as a longtime yogi. two favorite things. It's the same thing, a different path of getting there, though. I always mention, um, Course in Miracles being the fifth path, the fifth limb of yoga. This episode has been told to slow down, spiritual concepts, and much more. So you have a channel? You want to put me in touch with him? Did I been told by April? What have you been told by April? So if anyone has any guests they'd like me to reach out to, I will see what I can do. Can't make any promises, but I will reach out to anyone that you think would be interesting to talk to, if you think it fits, obviously. Silver says that it's recognized as a conceptual framework that's mine and mine alone, created through synchronicity. Thanks, Mustafa. It would be interested to see. We will see if I can make it an hour tonight. It got up to about 84 degrees today. Last week, we had snow. This week, 84 degrees. Life in the mid-Atlantic. Hey, what's up? Fair wander in late. It's high school all over again. That's been a message since December 27th. Eric, your voice sounds lovely today. What did you eat? Same thing every day. I have switched to different evening tea. Been drinking Valerian, chamomile, something else, and man, it really does make you sleepy. Makes you relax. Wesley says, Mustafa, what did you eat? You actually told us this afternoon, I think, didn't you? What you were making, what you were eating? Wesley says, no, I'm actually sober this time. It's still late. Me too. And I've been creating it is that alone or along the way since then? Oh, alone the way since then. The engine for my work was published in real time timestamping on 22nd January. 60-day construction. Elon is still trying. My understanding of Elon Musk is he's a very clever marketer. People can correct me if I'm wrong. It's okay. I don't mind being wrong. That he, parents had a diamond mine, South Africa. So he had money to begin with, and he bought some businesses wisely. That he's not really, he hasn't really invented things. He just, hey, Abby, after something's been invented, he comes along and buys it. I'm sure, very helpful in what he's done. Hey, Brian. Brian, how are you? This stuff is says hi to Abby. Abby is doing awesome. I'm glad to hear that, Abby. Always happy when you stop by to say hi. Mustafa's been drinking tea, eating natural honey and olive oil, and everything good and beautiful for 40 years. And your voice sounds slightly better than mine, Eric. Maybe because I'm just a little bit, not much, a little bit younger. Abby says to come visit you guys. I appreciate that, Abby. Brian says, I'm good, Yogi. How are you? I'm good, Brian. Dipper says he has built 75% of what my software can do. He's just built it with hardware. Mine is all in the logic. Abby says, you're welcome. And you're welcome. What's new, Brian Lane? I saw you and the turtles hanging out. So yeah, not a big Elon Musk fan. Not anti Elon Musk. I try not to be anti anyone. That's not always easy. That takes a little bit of mindfulness on my end, but it's good. As our friend Dove, again, will be here tomorrow, says, bless your triggers. They are telling you something. They are the way to enlightenment. You're not going to do it alone. If you avoid people, if you leave chats, live streams, channels because people are triggering you, then what you're missing out on is nothing less than enlightenment itself, awakening itself. These people are here to teach you. They don't know they're teachers. If they knew they were teachers, they wouldn't be as effective because they'd be less triggering, right? This is a soul level deal that was made. Seven says that's been the problem, Eric. Text this quantum needs to be built with the hardware. You cool the chips. It's about having Xeno drift and state persistence. First record principle. What's it says in second thought? I'll save that answer for more appropriate venue. What's that? What's that? Brian says just been working with being fine the way things are, so I'm not stressed. Hey, Kat. That's the way to do it. That's what our guest is going to talk about tomorrow night. So sorry, folks, for the technical jargon. It's okay. Hey, Plushy. Plushy says, oh, hi, back. Naomi says, hi, brother. Hello, my friend. Masato says, Eric, is Tom Wakechild okay? Please reassure me about him. I have not heard from Tom. He was going out of town. He was going to out of the country for about a month, he said. And then we were going to touch base. I haven't heard back. I did see him post on Facebook 1 or 2 days ago. So he's doing okay. I know that. Touchy says, I thought I missed the live. Nope. He says, when I'm triggered, I always know to point the finger back to myself. Today is definitely one of those days. Sorry about you being triggered, but it does help us awaken. No one said awakening was easy. It doesn't have to be hard. If we knew every trigger was a blessing, then they would no longer, they would still be a trigger, but it wouldn't cause the distress of being triggered. That's the problem. The problem isn't the triggering. The problem is we don't know what to do with the triggering once it happens. Naomi says, my mother is in hostage. People trying to drag me on YouTube. They're talking about me and my mother. I'm sorry, Naomi. Prayers, my friend. Kat, are you here? Or are you in the background? Sniper says, hurdles, Sherry. What's this? Says nothing. I was just reminiscing about being the only obvious gang member in advanced English and syncing the room up with PantMed like a fool. And everybody knew there was only one candidate there for the odor. Did you try to blame it on someone else? I always try to blame things on other people. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Just like, what's his name? Who was it? Who was it that sang that? It wasn't me. David says, I'm here. Well, I'm glad you're here, my friend. What's up? This is Eric. You still contact with Richard Lang. What do you think about hosting him again? I would host Richard again. I'd love Richard. I haven't been in contact with him since maybe 1 or 2 months ago. I read it. I read his newsletter all the time. I do the headless pointing all the time, of course. The teacher was cool though. He came over and sniffed me and he said, well, can't say for sure. And that is pretty cool. I would have, but I would definitely love having Richard up again. Richard's been a great teacher in my life. Sitting in the Zoom meetings, doing the headless pointing, profound effect. Zipper says, blame it on the rain. Kat, I don't know if you heard me mention the news earlier. I don't know if you can hear me. I didn't have a whole lot of cool teachers. I most definitely did not have a teacher who took a whole lot of interest in me, that's for sure. Kat says, what happened? Our friend David Hoffmeister is coming up Thursday at 1. He reached out to me. Naomi says, I can hear you. Well, I'm glad you can hear me, Naomi. That way I don't have to shout. Says he's a wonderful man. He knows how to talk and how to act. I've been communicating him on Messenger. Oh, Richard Lang? Awesome. What's this says? Cat Sniper, and Cat says, awesome. It is awesome. Cat, I was mentioning I uploaded the live stream to make some more videos of David, and it was awful. There was a lot of echoing going on. I did that stupid thing that I do with the camera. Don't know why I do it, but I do it. But I'm not going to do it anymore. Hey, Skits. It says just quick hello and hope you all had a nice day. Much love. Much love to you, Skits. Hey, Assad. What's it say? Skits duck. Are you asking him to duck or are you calling him a duck? You're not throwing something at Skits, are you? In which case, I hope he did duck. Or jump. Or dodge, as the case may be. What's up, says Eric? You have a great army of followers, but I don't see them here. I see only 9 people. Where are they? Mustafa, I don't know. Don't know. I do not know the comings and goings of people. We did have 27 people earlier today. Well, earlier this live stream. It's always funny. having 27 or 30 or whatever people come in. And then I start talking and it immediately drops. So like, hey, Tom. Amy says, can I have my wrench back? I did not know why I took your wrench away. Give me 1 second, Naomi. Where'd you go? There you are. Use it wisely, my friend. Wield your power softly. In other words, don't hit anyone with a wrench. No one likes to be hit with a wrench. I will beak. Careful, Eric. Tom, be careful driving. All ears, though. Kat says you can talk about the ease of letting people come and letting people go. With David, I know one thing I definitely want to introduce as a topic, and then here's a great thing. Here's how things have shifted. When I first talked to David, a large segment of it was, David, tell us about your experience learning the course, which was awesome story. But now I want to get down to the nitty gritty. You know, the nitty and the gritty. You should be mounted up, Naomi. I definitely want to talk about trust. Because here's the thing. Course talks about developing trust. And it paints, in my opinion, a comforting and harrowing picture at the same time. But developing trust. We think it's going to happen like that. I'm studying the course. I'm listening to the Holy Spirit, turning everything over to Jesus. I'm trusting, right? No, it's developing of trust. We don't realize how much trust and faith that we have in the ego. Everything, all of our trust in life is based on trust in the ego. You're welcome, Naomi. Where is my friend? Hey, and prayers to you, Sherry. S. Dot says, I just hit the wrong end of the cigarette. Maybe time to quit. Or buy filterless. Then you can never be wrong. Hey, Michael. Stephen says, please no timing of removing Naomi. Please use the wrench to easily connect to other channels. Thank you. Thank you, Sniper. Mustafa says, I hope everything will be all right with you, Sherry. Buster says, Assad, I've been taken to smoking the filters first. Otherwise, by the end, they're too harsh. Tom says, you can never be wrong unless it's lit already. That's true. That's true. So I also want to definitely open things up. Bring your questions to David Hoffmeister. We have two of the great master teachers of teachers back to back, Wednesday night and Friday night. Bring your questions, guys. The reason why I really want to talk about trust is because David was guided at age 38. He quit his job and said, okay, I'm just going to live by way of the Holy Spirit. I admire that. I find it freeing. I thought about this years ago, reading Mark Singer's book, The surrender experiment. Or it's a surrender experiment, the surrendered life. I don't remember which one. I think it's a surrender experiment. And of course, decades ago, Paramahansa Yogananda talked about that. And reading in the Tao Te Ching, I need do nothing, and yet everything gets done. Course in Miracles says, I need do nothing. What they mean is I, the ego, means I allow myself to be directed. Who was it? He wrote the purpose of a driven leaf, something like that. Hey, Princess, my friend, how are you? What's it says? Princess, good to see you. So I step closer to that edge. I step closer to trust. I step closer. I step closer. I step closer. And the ego gets me right at that edge and says, whoa, whoa, too far. But it's developing trust. It says so right in the teacher's manual. It doesn't say take that leap all at once unless you're David Hoffmeister. So how do you develop trust? You inch your way up to that ledge, you look over it, and you say, nope, not ready. And then you inch your way back up to that ledge again. And you do it, and you do it, and you do it. There's no limit. Thank you, Plushie. Much appreciated. But largely, though, I am doing it right now. I did not decide to show up and start talking about A Course in Miracles. Thanks for the poop, Wassa. Thanks for the happy poop. Esat says, are you good with cold water? Like Wim Hof Yogi? Not anymore. Used to be. Used to do cold plunges. Used to go down to Chesapeake Bay and do cold plunges. I used to do cold showers every single day for years upon years upon years. I belonged to a spa that had a cold plunge, and I would sit there half an hour easily. Done it for an hour before. It got too much. It became I don't know, it became something other than what I needed. So I have not done it for a while. I don't perceive getting back to it. I do cold exposure through the winter. I go outside half naked, mainly just to annoy my neighbors. Don't ask me which half is naked. You don't want to know, guys. I need to take my supplement, guys. Hey, thank you, Plushie. Thank you for the happy poop. It's no poop like a happy poop, as we used to say back in the day. Some people might say every poop is a happy poop. Jerry says, I used to do cold plunge too. It really helped my nervous system. It helped me recover from my workouts and my races. But I'll tell you what, even in summertime, the day after a 100-mile race, when your central nervous system is a mess, getting into that cold plunge was horrible. Getting into the sauna was awesome. You know, most people do sauna wrong. They have the heat up way too high and they sit in it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. This guy says half baked yogi, half naked yogi. Just my left side. Just my left side was naked. Tom says I can picture Yogi walking up the street with only short shirt and shoes, waving neighbors as he walks by. That was me. That was me. Was that you, Honk? Tom? Sure says I agree. It was horrible. Pretty disgusting. Says Yogi left side. I did say half naked, and I did say I didn't say what half. Um. So Sherry, what made you stop? Want to hear something weird? As if me saying that I was half naked on my left side, standing outside through the winter, was not weird. But this is maybe weirder. You want to know what cold water exposure started doing to me? Made me feel lonely. Don't know why. It brought about an intense feeling of loneliness. Michael says, did you catch anything cool on camera today? Here's the thing. I caught normal stuff on camera today that looked absolutely awesome. I caught a squirrel by the side of a tree in a squirrel position with a huge, it's a black walnut, like big. And it was so happy, but also so suspicious when it was looking at me, looking at him, like this is mine, and I ain't gonna share it. And the turtles were out for the first time this year. So I saw the turtles at the pond, and I saw a duck that might have been the single best looking duck ever. This was a duck of ducks. This was a duck that knew that he was pretty awesome looking and just sat there saying, look at me. So I did. I caught the moon coming up behind some pink clouds of dawn on the pond. So I got the reflection. Was to say, I thought you were going to say it was shrinking you. Just the opposite. Sherry says, I continue to accumulate chronic illnesses. I'm not sure if I surrendered to the reality or I gave up. I'm trying everything under the sun to heal. That says, a nice Yogi saw his animal friends. I've only seen a beaver once this year. Hopefully soon. And I've only seen one owl, but I know what tree for the general whereabouts. So hopefully I'll be seeing them more. Did see a hawk the other day. So Sherry, did you listen to Lisa Natoli when she was here? What's it says? Squirrels don't find like 97% of what they bury. I heard that somewhere before. Michael says, just like the stream on this channel. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that, my friend. You're going to be live on Friday, right? Tom says, I saw a deer once. What's up, Tiger King? What do you mean you saw a deer once, Tom? Any update on cat yet? On my cat? My cats? They're doing okay. Michael says that's not, that's nuts, was it? It is nuts. That's what they can't find, Michael. I heard that that might not necessarily be true, was it? Yeah. Nothing new, Tiger King. Was it says, oh, you guys are comedians. Yep. Smart asses, every single one of them. Tiger King says, hi to Tom. This guy says, Help me, Yogi. My mom is making a roast tomorrow. It's going to turn out so dry. Tastes, any ideas to save the dryness? Can you marinate it as it's cooking? And what about gravy? Every roast should have some kind of gravy, right? Tiger King says, hi to Lady Sky. Gravy. Gravy, gravy, and more gravy. Here says, I'm not sure, Yogi. If I did, I might have missed an important lesson. I'm waiting now on a biopsy in May. Then I will resume attempting to heal. I'm going to download Lisa Natoli tomorrow and start putting out some videos. She had some her own profound healing in her life, and offered it to us when she was up live. I should reach out to her again. Well, there are little trees sprouting all over my yard and even inside tarps and stuff that would largely confirm the squirrel stats. I think I looked that up last time we talked, and they're very good at locating. They do miss some, and that's an important way. Whether or not they do it purposely, that's a great way of what's the word I'm looking for? What's the expression? Let's look it up. All right. So no, the 97% figure is inaccurate. While popular myths suggest extreme forgetfulness, studies indicate squirrels actually have an 85 to 95% success rate in finding their hidden nuts. They use spatial memory and smell to recover most of their caches. They may abandon up to 74% in some scenarios. Here is the breakdown. High recovery rate. Research shows that squirrels are not simply scattering food randomly. They use spatial memory to map. That's pretty brilliant. The forgotten percentage. Estimates on how many nuts are actually lost or abandoned vary widely, ranging from 25 to 74%, depending on the study. Ecological impact. The nuts that are forgotten or abandoned often germinate, which is crucial for forest regeneration and planting new trees. So instead of relying only on memory, squirrels also use their sense of smell to locate their own nuts. Well, that's not difficult. And sometimes to steal nuts buried by other squirrels. Well, that's not right. Yeah, that's what I just read. Hey, Lady Sky, I have to admit, I have not listened to it for a little bit. I've been, when I'm not live, I've been immersed in a lot of work. I was too close to the camera. I was annoying myself. Simple says, nuts. That's that says, I think most squirrels steal each other's. Yep. What did Michael said on nuts? Cypher says synchronicity. One thing you should know about now, Tiger King, the more anyone ever tells me to do anything, the less likelihood of me ever getting it done. Call it a I don't know, a negative trait, whatever. Jerry says that would be a very difficult study to simulate and get an accurate percentage. This guy says, yeah, you've been busy. I have been. I'm trying new things, putting out more shorts, trying to do my best by the guests. They have entrusted me their presence, their message. The least I can do is get it out. Speaking of Lisa Natoli, she's the one who told me. Now, I had Vicky Poppy up. Vicky is just the most loving presence, and she, after the live stream with her, she sent me a text and said, "Thank you for saying yes to the Holy Spirit for your function." And it really did feel like feels now. Every guest, everything I do, is feeling inspired, and I needed to hear that because I felt pretty down on a lot of things. Not very happy with where I was. Thank you, Tom. Was this Erica's oppositional defiance disorder? Yes. ODD. Michael says apologies for my deadpan humor. No apologies necessary. And then it was Vicky who got me in touch with Lisa, and Lisa decided to come up. And then Lisa sent her Vicky reply and said, "I loved spending time up here. Thank you guys for making it such a loving place for her to come." Lisa had suggested that I was only doing part of what I'm supposed to be doing because, as she said, that not everyone is going to watch an hour and a half, or 2 hour live stream conversation with someone, no matter how interesting the topic might be. People might come and ask questions and participate. People aren't going to rewatch it if they can't participate, right? They can't participate in it. But as she said, as Lisa said, you never know who is going to find a 30-second or a minute or a minute and a half clip when they need it the most of someone saying just what needs to be said. Someone might have a drink in their hand for the first time in 14 years. Someone might be contemplating harm in some way. Someone might feel lonely, depressed. Some of those cases, many of us have been there. There was times after my father died when and this has happened even fairly recently, where I wake up and I feel absolutely positively alone. Overwhelmingly. Someone who's going to feel that same thing is going to find the right clip of Lisa Natoli or Dove Fishman or whomever looking in the camera and for whatever reason saying you're not alone. It's an impossibility for you to be alone. And that's going to make all the difference. So that's what I'm here for. I might be fairly good at it. Hey, this guy says, "You've done great with your guests, Yogi. Don't feel bad about it. Never put yourself down for your guests. They're great guests. Who has a lot to say about the conversation with you, Yogi. Lady Sky, thank you so much for that, my friend. You know, Lady Sky, the 3 or 4 times, just in the past few days, you've made some comments about the guests and appreciating them. And I can't tell you how much that means to me that you said that. All right, guys, we hit that hour mark. Sherry says, I have too many opinions today. That's my personal cue to shut up. I appreciate your opinions, Sherry. All right, guys, so I'll probably wrap things up. 2 guests tomorrow, 1 guest on Thursday. I think the weekend, as of now, is fairly open. Diona and Julie are both coming up next week. I have a guest Monday as well. I have some people already booked up a little bit later. I have someone booked up for April. Really looking forward to them. Tom says you did a great job picking your guests, although there's been a couple that said a thing or two I didn't necessarily agree with. I've yet to see if it had a bad guest I didn't enjoy. And that's the way it should be, Tom. Uh, First off, thank you. Thank you for that. But yeah, not every guest is going to say, we're not always going to be perfectly aligned. I'm not perfectly aligned with a lot of our guests. Uh, the key for me, though, is to be open with what they have to say, to be a host. My job isn't to debate or try to, I don't even like playing devil's advocate. Uh, I want them to present what they want to present. There's a reason why they teach what they teach. Um, and the message doesn't have to be for me. This guy says, never doubt yourself. But anytime I've guests, you will have Yogi. Thank you, Lady Sky. Tom says it's all about other people's insights and being open about it. It's how we learn. Amen to that. This guy says, you're never lonely here, Yogi. You use your chatters, your family to lean on. I appreciate that. I have considered on occasion a late night live stream. SS says open discussion with no ego attached can be very enlightening and educational, even if you disagree. Maybe even especially if you disagree. Now, Miss Blipper is a great teacher to me because I do disagree, and we disagree on some key teaching aspects of the course, how it's presented, what's what's a metaphor, what isn't a metaphor. But I love the fact that we see things and we view things a little differently because on the core principles, on the teaching, on the value, we agree 100%. On some things where we diverge, it allows me to open up and to realize if I'm clinging to something, why am I clinging to it? Why am I adverse to opening to this? Lady Sky says you got us, and I appreciate that. So yeah, there was difficult points. I found myself in. It's been a little bit since I have, but I've mentioned before, I've always been open with my own uh, emotional struggles, with my own um, awareness of my depression. Tip says, I'm just about to light my first cigar of 2026. Enjoy. SS says, yes, I think you, Miss Flipper, blend well in conversation. Thank you, Scott. What I love about coming up with Miss Flipper is that one, we know ourselves so well that we don't take ourselves seriously. And we can relax with the chat because, again, Miss Flipper's not really a guest. She's family. It's like hanging out with a sister. That says, I hope it smells like Victory Sniper. Or Havana. Cubans still make the best cigars? Don't know. I don't know as I've ever smoked a whole cigar. I might have lit one up. All right, I gotta go. How's my cat today, Yogi? He's right here by my side. Hey, you wanna say hi? You hear? She said hi, Lady Sky. Other one's downstairs napping. Great. Lady Sky, what do you do to my cat? You hit the on button. What? All right. Now I gotta pay attention to her. Are Cuban cigars still illegal in the States? I don't know. I thought. Mushy Peas out. Me too. All right. The Lady Sky's laughing because you got my cat. Now she's just sitting here looking at me. Hey, say goodnight. All right, guys. Love you all. I'll see you tomorrow, 5 o'clock, 1 o'clock. We have a new guest. 5:25, the return of Dove Fishman, and Thursday, David Hoffmeister. All right. Take care.